Music is something that everyone can appreciate and enjoy. There's nothing like hearing your favorite song on the radio or experiencing your favorite band live in concert. Music is a timeless thing that is forever changing and progressing. With a variety of genres and styles and formats, who wouldn't want to know more about music? Today's show is jam-packed with talent, as we have some docs that are in tune with our today's topic, music. I'm your host, Sonia Kargina, and you're watching The Journal.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Our first documentary is hard to measure up to. This doc, which was created by some of our own, features 3 Humber music students who are currently pursuing their dreams of making music. We'll see the process that goes into creating music and how fun it can be working as a team to create an album, as we get an inside look at the recording process at the Humber Music Program. Check it out.
Oh, no. When the pimp's trying to get at you, drop it like a I actually don't know what the words are for that song. That seems really surprising.
My name's Jeannette Loakman. I'm the lead vocalist and acoustic guitar player in my own band with my name on it. I write the songs and I'm funding an album with Connor and Bryn.
Oh, won't you come back to the prairies where the strong winds blow? See the sky go on for miles, see the fields all flush with gold. We'll lay down in the grass.
Me and Bryn and Connor all met in university. Bryn was kind of dating a friend of mine at the time, and we became really good friends, and I started dating Connor around that time. I'd seen Connor play a lot, and I'd seen Bryn play a lot, and I knew they were both really talented and also just really wonderful people. From when I moved here, I'd already kind of made a plan to steal both of them and make them be in a band with me. So Bryn booked us a show, and then from that we kind of just steadily started getting more work done. We did an EP a while ago, and we did it probably as cheaply as it's physically possible to do. We did it all in one day. And then we were talking a lot about the next record we wanted to do. We wanted it to be in a studio. And then this opportunity came up to get some recording time through Humber, through Bryn. And we decided that we should capitalize on that opportunity, because that can save you a big chunk of a budget, having a couple free studio days. And then it was just kind of like, once that ball started rolling, you're like, well, I guess I'm paying for this. So that's what I did. It's also one of those things where if you're going to spend a large amount of money, I can't really think of something else that I'd want to spend that much money on. Like, it's pretty awesome. It's been a really great opportunity, and I'm so excited.
It cuts into that down, down, down.
Okay. We do all have very specific personality traits. Connor's very detail-oriented. Bryn is very more like performance, emotional oriented, and I'm kind of in the middle.
You know, as a virtue of us being pretty close friends as well, and having known each other for a long time and working together for a while, we're able to be a little bit more open and vocal about suggestions and ideas. And I think over time we've sort of grown as a group and able to sort of speak honestly with each other and try to just come up with ideas, and everybody knows that we're all in it for the same reasons and just trying to sort of take these songs and make them, you know, as good as we possibly can.
Come back home, come back home. I really love lyrics and I really love melody. So generally I make those up first and I just kind of sing them to myself. And then I go and figure out chords later.
Danielle is writing songs pretty well, like all the time. She's like working on stuff. And then she'll bring it to Connor and I, and then we'll try to figure out how to present it in this format.
She does a really good job of telling stories directly enough that they feel like maybe somebody just talking to you about their feelings or that day or telling a story without being overly poetic or flowery. It's natural, but it still has a bit of a twist. It's not prosaic.
Anytime you record anything, it puts everything that you're doing under a microscope. You have this feeling, you have this like romanticized idea that you're going to go in and you'll just play it and it'll be perfect and you'll be like, yep, that's a great song. But what works live doesn't always necessarily work on a record. So it can get really overwhelming. You can also get hypercritical of everything you do, and that's also a dangerous trap to get into, because then you end up like just second guessing every choice and not having something that's honest either. So it's a lot of things to keep in mind. And so the challenge, I think, for us has been to make it sound as good as possible on the record while still being true to what we want our sound to be, and while still making something that stands alone as just being really good.
Goal would probably be to make the most honest album of what the music is or what we feel the music should be.
It'd be really amazing if this CD could come out. We could get a little bit of radio play, and if it could help us start getting into festivals would be the biggest thing. And if it gets recognized more than that, that's great. But my career as a musician, I have always been okay with it going like this. I'm okay with it taking a long time because I want to do everything right.
That's amazing! It looks like so much fun. I might have to reconsider my career path. Before we get into our next doc, let's check in with Zach Minawi in the studio to see what's in store for us later.
Hey guys, I'm here with my friend and talented artist, Triangle and Seed. So, what are you playing for us today, buddy?
I got a new song called Making Move. First time playing it, and should be good.
Stay tuned, guys.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for the performance. Until then, let's get back to Al's doc on vinyl records, interviewing Andrew Williams as he talks about the true value of vinyl and how they're here to stay. Let's blast right into that vinyl hype.
Initially, I started collecting records when I was a teenager, so I was about 15 or 16 actually. And then I stopped simply because it was a space issue and I moved a lot. And then after that, I actually had there was a resurgence, and I wound up in my mid-30s, early to mid-30s, rediscovered it all again and started to recollect. I have an old JVC that I pulled at the basement and put a new needle on it, and it sounds great. You know, it works really well. But for newer people that generally don't have a lot of money, or they want to hear their copy of Wham or whatever they happen to get in their hands on that at a garage sale, or you know, they want to listen to random music that they find, they'll go out and they'll get themselves a crappy turntable. And you know, some of these cheaper turntables, sometimes they work okay, sometimes they're fine, but a good majority of them, they don't have good needles on them, so you don't get the same sound that you get out of a decent needle. That's one of the main things about a record player, that is important, is to have a good needle. Relatively good equipment, decent equipment makes all the difference as far as sound quality. The resurgence really is more about the record companies seeing a demand for vinyl, because some of the indie companies that have put out vinyl, they've done very well for themselves. In fact, as far as I know, there is a new pressing plant in Detroit that just opened up, specifically for more indie stuff. But whenever the music industry is a little bit threatened, because CDs were great for a while, but let's face it, now that we're in a digital age where people don't necessarily always want to own things, you have two sets of minds. You have people that don't want to own physical copies of things and are happy with their digital versions of things. Then you have people that really love sound quality and they want to sit at home or wherever they happen to be with a vinyl record or an analog source of something, any analog format for that matter. So even tape, I'm not saying cassette tapes, but reel-to-reel tapes sound fantastic. There are a few bands that do reel-to-reel releases of their album. But again, reel-to-reel is plastic. The actual tape is plastic, and it can degrade, just like a CD. It degrades over time, and it's not archival, sadly. It has to, records, by and large, if they're stored correctly, they're archival. And so after I pass on, I could leave my record collection to someone else, and they can enjoy it. Because vinyl records have been around for so long, and there has been diehard collectors that have collected in that time. There's a point in the 90s when CDs came out, or I say late 80s to early 90s when they came out, and people got rid of all their Beatles albums on vinyl, and got rid of all their AC/DC, and got rid of all their, you name it, all their fun records that they loved, because they got CD format, because it was easier and it was more portable. Well, people are going back now, I think, to a way, more importantly, the masses are now going back to a way where it's no longer about portability. It's more about the sound quality. They're looking for that crisp sound that they can only get with an analog signal, which is vinyl.
I couldn't agree more with everything Andrew said. Honestly, vinyl is my favorite format of listening to music because it really exemplifies the true sounds of the instruments being played. Speaking of instruments, our next talk is about the Tiango Marching Band. A woman named Lisa was so intrigued by the band that she decided to work hard to join the band so that she could be part of it. So let's march right into it.
我2009年2月份的时候呢，就来到海外。那我第一次看到天国乐团，让我感觉到非常的震撼，就是大把弟子穿的那个服装，踏的那个鼓点，非常精神饱满的，就是展现在世人面前。当时我就心里有一念，哎呀，要是我能够加入天国乐团就好了。大家好，我叫 Lisa， 我是天国乐团的一个成员。那我在乐团里呢是负责打镲的。我们的曲子呢有很多，就是我们有一部分的曲子呢是天国乐团的。加拿大国家的一些曲子，比如说《永远的枫叶》啊，或者说是美国的那个，像圣诞的时候会打一些《Jingle Bell》啊。让我觉得比较难的呢，就是我觉得有2个吧。一个就是以前没有学过乐谱，就是要懂得学会去看谱子，去掌握这节奏。还有一个我觉得比较难的呢，就是说，因为我是打镲的哈，它需要特别大的那个，就是那个手臂的那个力量，就是经常这样一打，就是打下来一场啊，就是这个手臂啊都是要痛好几天的。那我觉得有时候因为每一次游行。大概都会1个半2个小时，就是经常会到了后来的时候，那个力量不是很够，那就是体力透支会比较大，就是我会觉得那个是很难的，就是又要打出了那种力度哈，但是那时候你的力量又不够的时候，那真的是要用全身的那种力量和那意念。加拿大也是一个多元文化的一个国家嘛，我觉得我们能够代表亚洲的一种文化吧，哈，我们以东方人的面孔，那么尤其是以大法弟子的这种面孔呢，展现给世人，那我觉得告诉世人呢，法轮大法好，真善人好，我觉得这是一个普世的价值，我觉得能够在海外自由的修炼，能够表达自己的信仰，我觉得是一件很美好的事情。
so amazing that Lisa was able to realize that she had a love for a tango marching band so much that she persevered and became part of the band. It's so inspiring to see that. It takes so much to push yourself and become what you really want to in terms of going out there and pursuing your goals in life. Speaking of, that brings us to our next talk of the show. One that is sure to turn the tables. We meet Chris Domenico, who goes by his DJ name, Harmony.
Hey, I'm Harmony. I'm a DJ producer from Toronto. I was 18 when I started making music and DJing and like trying to pursue a career in music. My main influences are Subtract, Little Dragon, Jamie XX, Tame Impala. Right when I graduated high school, I went to Halifax to see if I wanted to actually just like pursue a career in music. And I didn't go to Halifax just to like, for that main reason. It's kind of just like mellow out after graduating high school and like not having, like I quit my job and just like need to like start fresh. And then when I came home, I was kind of like enlightened and like more open to the fact that I want to like do something not on like the same path as like a lot of people do like, for a career. A typical day for me, if I'm not like working retail, it's kind of just like waking up, coming down here, listening to music, smoking a little, kind of just like calming myself down a bit, pulling inspirations from like different sounds, finding new music every day, just for new motivation, pretty much. I guess I would call myself a DJ producer. I started DJing like a year before I produced though, until my manager kind of like took me in for a meeting. It was like, you're not gonna have longevity in music without having your own product. Because there's a lot of DJs that just only DJ like the same shit and like other people's music, but we're not really like buying mixes like people buy albums, so you have to have something of your own. On the producing standpoint, I make everything pretty much like right here, just using this computer and like guitar and a piano. As a producer, you're like the main person for like any source of music. So anything you hear comes from like one or multiple producers. So me making the instrumentals, or you're kind of like the architect to the song. The singer's kind of like, the singer's like the worker on the work site, and the producers are like the people designing everything. Making money in music's kind of, it's difficult, and it's like a long process usually. For me, I have to make money off of shows and like DJing and doing performances and like parties and stuff right now until I have like an album or like a product ready to like release for like commercial sale, and then you make money off of that. And then after that, you kind of make money off of touring and just like traveling and stuff like that.
You know, I always wanted to be a DJ. Yet again, another career to consider for myself. Here with me, we have Peter Higginson, who filmed and interviewed Harmony. Peter, what was it like to see how music is produced?
Yeah, it was really interesting seeing how music was produced. It was my first time like seeing music ever being produced, and like it was all on his computer, and it was really really cool to see. And I thought it was actually very interesting.
Was it your first time being at the music studio?
It actually was my first time being in a music studio. It wasn't like a full music studio with all the switchers. It was like he has his Mac computer with his 2 speakers, and then he has his keyboard, which is where he gets all his sounds from and all his like all his music. And then he just has a mic there if he ever has to record himself.
Right. So can you tell us, how did you meet him?
I met him in grade 10. We went to the same high school, and we had a music class together, and we both played the trumpet. And we actually almost ended up failing by, we both got a 51, so we just passed. And I thought it was actually kind of ironic how he almost failed music, yet that's all he does now for a living, is music.
So do you think you can do something like that, like DJ or produce music?
Oh, probably not. I'm pretty musically challenged, so I wouldn't see myself actually using a keyboard. I can't use any instrument. I could barely play the trumpet. But doing music, no. I'd rather just stick to my film and broadcasting and stay away from the music side.
I see. Well, maybe you learned something. Maybe can you tell us about what have you learned from this experience?
I learned that going into music isn't as easy as it sounds. People think you just go into music, you make money, but you have to actually you have to go through the whole copyright issue. You have to go on tour, and like he said, you make more money going on tour than you do selling your music. So you have to figure out how to get on tour.
Well, thank you, Peter, for telling us more about your experience with DJ Harmony. That was exciting. Now onto our last and final doc of the show is a doc about 3 girls who call themselves Pins and Needles. Forming an all-girl rock band, let's see what it takes to become a successful all-girl band in a world full of so many man bands.
My name is Deanna Petkoff. My band's name is Pins and Needles. I guess it was like a year into us playing, and we just kept on getting yelled at, and we didn't know why, because we were also like 15 and 16, and we'd never experienced that before. Like, nor had we gone to a bar and seen a band play because we're not of age yet. We had no idea what to expect, and no one can really prepare you for that, because it's not gonna be like, okay, girls, like when you get up there, people are gonna yell at you. Just FYI, like no one said that. We were so young, and all of these like 40-year-old men were like, come down here, like let me get a good look at you, and like we had no idea what to do about it. So we were like all sitting together at band practice, and we were trying to talk about like, okay, when that happens, like how do we deal with that while we're on stage, because it's so demeaning. You hold a position of power while you're on stage, but you're so knocked down by that like how do you continue playing? So we ended up writing Shameless about like a person that was fearless and that could deal with that. Yeah, I'd say that, you know, the effects like of sexism in the music industry is the low point for us, but it's also given us a lot of inspiration, and it's made us fight a lot harder for what we want. So I feel like although it's a low point, it's also brought us a lot higher because it made us fight a lot more, and it's given us more to write about. Generally, I write about trying to hash out stuff that has gone wrong, or like even stuff that's going right, and taking down the moment and being like, okay, like this is a certain thing that's happening and this is how I feel about it. And some of it for me is like therapeutic almost, because it kind of like helps me figure out like, oh, I didn't realize how angry I was about that. Oh wait, I'm really mad. And then I can like, you know, deal with that issue more because I've fleshed it out like more from my subconscious, I guess.
She looks over shoulder, she only...
Are we doing it? Why don't we just cut out from she only sees a soldier of the heart of the heart? Yeah. Okay.
Feminism is a really tough, it's a tough label to put on yourself sometimes because it limits you a lot of the time. Unfortunately, it's the misunderstanding of what feminism is and you know how it's expressed, and sometimes it's mistaken for being extremely crude, or you're gonna blow something up. Like it's like not, it's not just that. And it's, you know, saying, you know, I write feminist songs. They're like, oh, so you're angry, and it's like yeah, but you know, it's not just that I'm angry. Like a feminist song can be expressing like, it can be about love too. It can be about anything, because like as a feminist, you're not just writing about, you know, men are dicks, like hate you all. Like it's not like that. It's, you know, it's every part about yourself. So
today's episode has inspired some of you to pick up an instrument or to open your horizon of music worth listening to. We have one last treat for you, a live performance from Toronto's own Triangle and Seed. I'm your host, Sonia Kargina. Thanks for watching The Journal.
Stop.